So what I wanted to talk to you about today, usually I talk to families, I make these videos for families who are considering homeschooling. They've already kind of made that step and they're kind of researching that. But today I wanted to kind of broaden that, that audience, and I wanted to talk to parents who maybe don't even realize that homeschooling is an option, who maybe don't even realize that homeschooling is legal, right? And the reason I wanted to do this is because I watched a video that was posted by a local mom recently, just this past week, and she was posting about her daughter. And she was on her way to the school to pick up her daughter, who had called and said, "You have to pick me up. It is so horrible here. I'm being bullied so badly, Mom. I can't take it. I can't take it." And apparently this is something that this poor child has gone through multiple times. She has been suicidal over this. And the school is saying there's nothing they can do. We can't control 500 kids and their phones. Sorry. Which David's Law here in Texas says to the contrary. But one of the things I realized listening to this mom talking about what her child was experiencing is, first of all, that those of us who went to school back, before social media, we did not experience, even the bullying that goes on now is nothing like the bullying that went on then. Society has changed in a very drastic way when it comes to bullying and specifically, and bullying is not going to be the main point of this video, but I need to kind of set the stage here. So, kids these days, bullying looks like thousands of people all over the world leaving awful comments about you, someone who they don't even know, on pictures that somebody at your school took. You don't know who took them. You don't know when they took them. And so you as a 12-year-old who's still trying to figure yourself out, still trying to figure out where you fit in the world, still trying to figure out what it means to be a citizen in this new global community. I mean, the rest of us are still trying to figure that out, I think. The world is so different now from what it used to be, right? Now that we have things like social media and the internet. And when we were kids, bullying happened in your school, in your spot, in your community. And now it is a worldwide thing. There are people from other states, from other countries who are saying awful things to you, posting awful things on your pictures that were taken of you. Okay, so when we talk about bullying now, particularly when it involves social media, I think it is significantly more damaging than it used to be. And bullying used to be significantly damaging. I'm not saying it didn't used to be. It was traumatizing 20 years ago, 15 years ago. It is even more traumatizing now. But, so I'm watching this video and I'm watching this mom pouring her heart out about how angry she is and how upset she is for her child. And like an idiot, I went and started reading the comments that people had left on this video. And, you never read the comments, right? When you look at articles online and things like that, maybe leave your own and then walk away. You never want to read the comments. Luckily, there were some people who were posting encouraging, positive things. There were a number of people who were saying, "You've got to homeschool her. Take her out and homeschool her." I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I left her a comment, told her, "Hey, I'm a homeschool coach. I'm local. Please let me know how I can help you." But, and this was the thing that really ticked me off and made me want to do this video today. There were multiple people who said, "No, don't take her out and homeschool her. I can't believe these people who are saying to take her out, because if you do that, then the bullies win. And you're teaching her to walk away from her problems and not to stand up for herself. And what you need to do is enroll her in karate and jiu-jitsu and a self-defense class so that she can get some confidence and stand up for herself." That was what ticked me off. And here's why. When your child is in a toxic environment, they are losing. Every minute that they spend in an environment where they are being ridiculed, where they are being bullied, where they are being belittled, where they are being demeaned, where they are being harassed, where they are being abused, every minute they are there is enforcing trauma and causing trauma. They're not learning. Do you think that you can learn when you are constantly being humiliated, when you are constantly in fear, when your cortisone levels are so high because you are stressed from the minute you wake up, knowing that you have to go back into that environment again. What picture is going to get put up on social media today? What comments are people going to say to me today? Do you think that child is learning anything? Do you think that they can pay attention to nouns and verbs and the French and Indian War and the water cycle and learn this stuff? Do you think that their brain is able to compartmentalize that and to say, oh, well, you know, they don't know what they're doing. And I know that my worth doesn't come from what other people think, and that I am a worthy person who deserves respect, and I'm going to have self-respect for myself, and I'm not going to pay attention to these people. I'm here to learn, and so I'm going to focus on that. Do you really think that is what any child is thinking? Adults can hardly think that. It takes years for adults to get to a point where they can think that way. Do you really think that a child is able to have that maturity and to go into an environment that is intent on tearing them down, and where they know that the adults aren't even trying to help them? Do you really think that it is more important to show the bullies that they can't win than it is to show your child your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health matters way more than these idiots who are cheating you this way? I'm taking you out now to show you that I believe you, that I support you, that I'm not going to allow you to remain in an environment that is so toxic that it is causing lifelong damage. Because folks, that's what happens with bullying. It can cause lifelong damage. So these people who are posting, oh, no, don't, the bullies are going to win. Your child is losing. Every single day that your child is in that environment, they are losing. It doesn't matter what the bullies are going to think if you take your child out. Should your child learn how to defend themselves? Should your child learn how to be confident? Yes, of course. But how long do you think that's going to take? How long does a child need to be in jiu-jitsu or karate or a self-defense class before they are confident enough to actually whip out those moves and defend themselves? And let me ask you, what's going to happen to that child when they decide to do a roundhouse kick on little Jimmy over here, who's been posting these awful pictures and awful comments of your child? Do you really think that the principal's going to say, well, Jimmy, you had it coming, and not also give your child detention or expel her or whatever for physically injuring another child? Do you really think that a school that is not trying to protect your child is going to look kindly upon your child actually defending themselves? No, because the school is covering its own butt. It's not trying to take care of any of the children. If it's allowing this bullying to go on, they don't even care about the bullies. They're not trying to stop them. They're not trying to change them. They're not trying to show them that what they're doing is wrong. So what makes you think that your child standing up for herself is going to be received in the way that she should be received? So not only this, however, it is not only the kids who are being bullied who are losing. It is every other child in that environment who is watching this happen and watching all the adults do nothing. It's the children who are sitting in the back, terrified that at some point those bullies are going to turn their venom on me, crouching in the corner in the back of math class, hoping to be invisible so that nobody sees me. I'm not going to say anything because, again, I'm 12, I'm 11, I'm 13, I'm 9. Okay, the ages of bullies, of children who are being damaged by bullies, it's getting younger and younger and younger, y'all. I have a friend who had to take her kid out of kindergarten because he was being bullied so badly. Kindergarten, okay? Do you really expect kids that young to have the wherewithal and the confidence and the strength of character to stand up and say what you're doing is wrong and stop? Some do. Some will do that, and thank God for those kids. But do you really think that the children who are in an environment where they see that the right thing is not being supported are going to have the strength to stand up? I could see myself, I would have been that kind of kid, the stand up and say this is wrong kind of kid 30 years ago, back when I knew that if I pointed out wrongdoing to my teachers, they'd have my back and they'd make sure it stopped. But our kids, your kids in these schools, they can't trust the adults to do that. They see this happening and they see nothing happening to the bullies. They see no consequences. They see nothing being said from the principal or from the superintendent or from their teachers. And so do you really think they're going to stick their necks out knowing that they don't have any support and risk having all of that toxicity turned in their direction? So even if your child is not being bullied, your child is losing every day that they are in an environment where the right thing is not being supported by the teachers, the staff, the administration, and where they are seeing that kids are able to run roughshod over the adults and do whatever the heck they want, and there are no consequences. Now, I'm not saying, obviously, that every school is like this. I know that not every school is like this. I was very blessed to be able to teach at schools where this was not what it was like. And, you know, that's like just in like the last 5 years I've been a teacher in these schools. So we had the social media thing going on. We had, you know, kids were on, I don't remember if Instagram was around quite then, but I think it might have been. But, you know, they were on Facebook. That was the big thing, you know, right, for everybody back before, you know, Instagram came up, or, you know, Snapchat and all these. And we had some bullying situations, and our principal shut it down fast. And if a parent came in and tried to say, oh, you know, this happened off school grounds, you can't do this to my kid, the principal said, I'm sorry, and then you can take your kid out. I mean, he did not take any gruff from a parent who tried to defend their bully child. He said, no, I will not allow this to happen. But that's not what's happening at all schools anymore, unfortunately. And if your child is in a school like that, then every day your child is being exposed to this kind of behavior and is shown that they are also not safe. Maybe they're safe right now in the sense that nobody's coming after them yet, but all it's going to take is one, you know, awkward social moment that somebody catches on camera, and the next thing you know, they're going to be the next target. And they know this. And so every day your child wakes up knowing that they're about to go back into a school where this stuff is happening. Do you really think that your child is learning, if that's your child, the child that's not being bullied yet, but is going into the lion's den every day? Do you really think that they're able to concentrate and focus on school? You really think that they're not constantly, you know, looking to see who's got a phone out, filming whatever, taking pictures of whatever? You can't learn if you don't feel safe. And just because your child is not currently the target of a bully does not mean that they feel safe. Now, if I'm describing your kid, okay, your kid that's either being bullied or is maybe in a school where they're just seeing this stuff happen, I want you to know a couple of things. First of all, I want you to know that homeschooling is legal in all 50 states. I want you to know that taking your child out mid-year is legal in all 50 states. I want you to know that homeschooling is not set in stone. You can take your kid out for the rest of the year and put them back in another school, or even back into the same school in the fall. You can take them out for a month and then put them back in. Okay? Public school can't tell you, no, you can't enroll your child here. Okay? They also can't stop you from withdrawing them. Okay? Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, I shouldn't say that. The laws are different in every state. However, as a homeschool coach, that's part of what I do, is help families navigate those laws and make sure that what they're doing is legal. But obviously, there are lots of resources that can help you with that. It's not, you know, I'm not the only one. If you have ever thought, oh my gosh, I hate the environment that my kid is in, but I couldn't homeschool because I was a lousy student myself, or I'm not a teacher, or I don't have the patience, or I don't have the money to buy all those books, or I want my kid to go to college and homeschoolers can't go to college. Okay, if you ever thought any of that, I want you to know none of that is true. You don't have to be a teacher. Some of the best homeschooling moms are not teachers. Some of the best homeschooling moms didn't even go to college. No, you don't have to have a lot of money. There are loads of families who had to sacrifice a lot financially for a parent to stay home and homeschool. And they do it on a shoestring. And you can Google homeschool on a shoestring, homeschool on a budget. You will find all sorts of resources. Yes, homeschooled students can go to college. Yes, you can homeschool even if you don't have a whole lot of patience. Yes, you can homeschool even if you weren't a good student yourself. I actually have videos on almost all of these topics here on the Good Schooling page. If you go into the video section, I have a whole Busting the Homeschooling Myths collection of videos. A lot of these are in there. Scroll through some of the others. You'll see some other things that I've talked about that hit on a lot of the misconceptions and fears that a lot of parents have about homeschooling. But I just wanted to make sure that parents out there knew that you can take your child out. You do not have to keep them in that toxic environment. You do not have to sacrifice your child's mental and physical and emotional health simply because you have a job and you can't stay home. I actually have an article on my website that's all about how to homeschool when you also have to work, because that's another big one. Parents say, well, yeah, okay, I do know homeschooling is an option for some, but I have to work, so I can't. Take a look at that article. Not only does it have a whole bunch of ideas for how to manage, like how to juggle homeschooling and working, but it also has a whole free download of legitimate work from home options and entrepreneurial ideas for those who kind of have an entrepreneurial bent and would like to maybe try to do their own thing, which, can definitely make it easier in some ways to homeschool because you're not, having to leave the house so much. But I just wanted to make sure that parents realize that you don't have to keep putting your children back into this awful environment. And again, not every school is like this, thank God. But if your child's school is like that, okay, you have got to prioritize your child's mental health, because these are scars that can last for their whole life. I was bullied when I was in 7th grade. I remember it vividly. Thank you, Lord. It was before Facebook. It was before social media. But I still sometimes cry when I tell those stories. And I'm 40 some odd years old, okay? This was a long time ago. And it's not the bullying anymore that hurts. It's knowing it's knowing how it affected me for so many decades and hating that I had to go through that and that I had to deal with that. And it's hating knowing that other kids still have to deal with that. So don't think that just because it's not happening to your child that they're safe, because I also saw merciless bullying going on that I did. Remember I said I would be that kid that would stand up? I actually did. When I was in high school, I stood up for somebody who was in our grade who was being really, really targeted, and it cost me a lot socially, but frankly, and thankfully, I didn't really care, as I had a really, really solid friend group outside of school. But still having to see that, having to hear that, having to deal with that, and then because I'm the kind of person who is very sympathetic and empathetic, not being able to separate her pain from myself. Like, I felt like when I'd see these things being said to her and I could see that hurt in her face and see the tears in her eyes, I would leave the room crying. So if that was affecting me that way, then I'd think, my gosh, how does she feel? She goes home every day being talked to like this. If your child, particularly if you have a child who has a very tender, sympathetic, empathetic heart, I can guarantee you that they are being damaged by what they see when there's bullying going on around them. Protect your children. Protect their innocence. Protect their mental health, their physical health, their emotional health, all of which are tied together. You ding one, you're going to ding them all. So don't be surprised when there's lots of mysterious headaches and stomach aches and things that, you can't just take a temperature and say, oh yes, the mercury rose or it didn't, because they're desperate not to have to go back into that situation. Prioritize your child. Protect your child. If there's anything I can do to help you feel confident in homeschooling, getting your kids out of that environment, please know I want to help you. Please message me through my group, or through the Facebook page here. Please come join Exploring Homeschool, which is my free group. Please get on the wait list for the Confident Homeschooler, which is my membership group. Or take a look at my VIP program and see if that is something that you want to do in February. My January's filled. I have one more spot in February and one more spot in March. And I would be honored to be able to help you help your child and fix for them this situation in which every single day they are losing. Every day that they're in this environment, they're losing, but you can fix it. You can homeschool. You can. I don't care what situation you might be going through. I can help you figure out something, okay? Because your child and their mental health, physical health, emotional health are worth it. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Lori, for telling me that my sound was off. Sorry about the blip in the beginning there. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you all have kids that are in wonderful, wonderful schools. But if you don't, please know that I'm here to help you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Take care. Bye, y'all.